Hey, welcome to a Business I Have No Clue podcast. I'm Cornelia, and if you are in love with personal growth and you're an entrepreneur, you're in the right place because that is what we're talking about here. I want to welcome you back. If this is the second time or more tuning in, welcome to the No Clue Club. And if this is your first time listening, welcome, gather around. It's gonna be awesome. Today we're gonna talk about stepping into a new identity. And actually, the main reason I'm gonna talk about this today with you is very simple. I'm pregnant, about 32 weeks at this very moment, and this transformation is super visible on the outside. And normally, I change all the time. You change all the time. We're never the same from the person that we were yesterday. I always choose consciously which direction I want to go in. And I thought, well, that might be a great thing to talk about at the end of the year because it is time for transformations. It is time to choose directions. And before we're going to dive into how you can do that and what you can do to choose a direction and stuff, is I want to take you along to a moment mid-COVID somewhere. I was at a personal growth seminar, one that lasts for 18 days. And this personal growth seminar, it was in a tent outside. It was summer, end of summer. And in this white tent, chairs with 1.5 meters apart from each other, with a group of about 25 people. We had 2 trainers in the front. And during one of the breaks, I'm having a conversation with the head trainer. I am not sure what the topic of this conversation was exactly, but I do know this. At some point I said, I'm always recovering from my depression. And that means I don't do XYZ. It means I sport. It means I have a dog. It means I bought a horse. It means I take very good care of myself. I might have mentioned this is the reason I don't want to become a mom. So I did a lot of stuff to avoid becoming depressed again and to avoid going back to the I'm depressed version of me, the identity version of me that, hey, I am my depression. And I adapted this identity of I don't ever want to go back there. So I will always be a recovering depressionist. Basically, that's probably not a word. But I looked at it in the same way as you could look at other addictions. Like if you are an addict, you're always a recovering addict. That is the main message out there, and I applied that to my depression as well because of a lot of reasons that we're not going to dive into right now. But we have this conversation about how I identify myself still with this depression. And she asks me, what if you let go of this always recovering identity? And that question got me silent. What if I let go of this always recovering from my depression identity? And for me, that I think is one of the main shifts I made in my life. But I can imagine that for you, it's probably not a depression. I hope you didn't have a depression. And if so, you can apply this too. Whatever it is that you hold on to from the past that is not serving you in this moment that you identify yourself with. That could be a job or maybe you're a baker and you don't want to bake anymore. Maybe you, in my case, I was a sustainability specialist. I don't want to be a sustainability specialist anymore. You did a certain study program and you want to shift your life in a completely different direction. Maybe you studied for economics, maybe you studied to become a doctor, maybe you studied a lawyer or whatever it is that you studied for. You hold on to that but secretly it's not like you feel it's not really working for you anymore. Like for me, with this always recovering from depression, this is an identity that really tries to keep me safe from avoiding from this ever happening again. And she asked me, can you trust that if it ever comes back, you have the tools to deal with it? I'm like, yeah, well, I did it once. There's no reason I can do it twice, you know? So maybe it's time to really seriously consider, what if I let go of this always recovering identity? It was a story I told myself all the time. Like I said, I did a lot of things that are connected to this identity part. I wouldn't dare to start a business. I wouldn't dare to really do what I really wanted to do because it was unsafe. I had to work with the government because there you could just work part-time and it was safe. And if I got sick, then I got sick payment and stuff like that. So all these things I did to keep me safe from, not going there again. But it also kept me from moving forward. It kept me from doing the things that I really, truly, deeply inside wanted in my life. Even though that was just figuring out, what is that exactly? So this question, what if you let go of this identity? What are the possibilities then? That is what we're talking about today. Because what is possible if you consciously shift your identity? A lot of people wait until there is a major life event to do so, because you can identify yourself with a lot of things. You may have experienced trauma. You may have had a certain job that I already mentioned. You may have a particular role in your family. You are a certain friend. You have a certain friend group that you identify yourself with. Maybe you got sick. Maybe you went traveling and you came back like a different person. There are triggers that can help us change, obviously. We can do it consciously too. And that is awesome, because when I look back at that moment where she asked me, what if you let go of this always recovering identity? What if it's okay that it's not true anymore? That was the trigger for my life to change. That was the trigger for me to dare and do other things in my life. It was the trigger to get a business coach and start a business. It was the trigger to choose for becoming a certified trainer. It brought me so much that I let this go. Right now, it also, when I look back, this is also the trigger that right now I'm pregnant. I never wanted to become a mom, and it really had to do with that identity. I didn't want to give this set of genetics, because it's partly genetic, to my kid. Whereas when I'm looking at it right now, you get a real insight in my mind right now, is like, shit happens in your life. That was the depression, and that was another psychological disease that I had later on. But if my child has a tendency to have similar troubles in her life, who better can help her with that than me? I know how to fix this. No, I know the tips and the tricks and the tools that you can use to make it work. And you cannot control everything in life. So if I would have been super healthy, I might have carried another gene that's not so nice to have. So I let this go. I could let it go because of this one question. And there have been years between that question and me being pregnant now. That's a work in progress. That took a while to get to this point, but that was okay. I was completely fine with that. In between, I did all kinds of transformations. And with the tools that I have now, I usually do it consciously. I think the other one that I made around the same time that started as this trigger, I used to be a sustainability specialist. And I'm still in love with the planet. I love the earth that we're walking on. I love to go into nature and look around and analyze what I see. And I'm also always focused on, okay, how can we do this in a way that is actually good for the planet? But I didn't want to identify myself with that anymore. I thought it was very limiting because people look at you and say, oh, you're going by plane somewhere. You shouldn't be doing that, blah, 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 blah. Or my horse is a 30-minute car drive from my home. Yeah, not so sustainable. Could have, why aren't you looking for a barn closer to you? Like all these things that are so limiting, like you shouldn't do stuff. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to limit myself all the time. So, and I had that at work too. Like I was proud of being a sustainability specialist until it got annoying. I had to fight, pushing battles all the time. People wanted to do their work the way that they did their work all the time. And there I came along. Well, you have to do it differently because that's more sustainable. That fight, that was something that I did not want to do anymore. And I consciously, this was a slow process, but I consciously changed this identity from sustainability specialist to, okay, I'm going to let that part go. And I'm going to focus on, I'm an entrepreneur. Even if it doesn't feel like it yet, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Because it felt scary. It felt unrealistic. Even a little bit laughable at first. I don't have family with an entrepreneurial background. I had to literally start from ground zero. I know nothing about entrepreneurship. But what I do know is that a business is going to give me the power and the freedom to live my life the way that I want it to. I want to be an entrepreneur. And I did that by immersing myself into entrepreneurship land. Whole new doors opened for me that I figured out, hey, I'm not the only one who wants this. I'm not the only one who does this. All these women are there running their own business. I love it here. I really love it here. Podcasts, books, seminars. I did it all. I really did it all to immerse myself in this new identity. It wasn't easy though, because when you want to shift your identity, you want to do something that is new, that the people around you don't expect to happen. And you can run into social expectations. Why aren't you just normal? Why are you doing this? And it's also one of the reasons that I never tell anyone I'm doing this. I'm just doing it. Like, get rid of all the expectations. I'm doing this for me. So I can work on this new identity and experiment with it to become this entrepreneur. Because I believe you create yourself. Always. You have the power to create the person that you want to be. You can become almost anything when you choose an identity where you can control the outcome. And that's an important nuance because there are also outcomes you cannot control. At this moment, I have a friend who really, really wanted to become some certain kind of doctor, and she did literally everything in her power to make that happen. And then you have to apply for education spots at a certain point for the specialty, and she didn't get it. That is an outcome you can't control. You can do everything you can, but you're still dependent on an external factor. Just like winning the lottery or something big as becoming pregnant or getting a relationship. There are other parties involved. And that means you don't have 100% control over the outcome. But there are also a lot of identities where you can control the outcomes. And that relies on your behaviors, on your skills, on your consistency, on your mindset, your effort, your intention, your actions. If you want to become an entrepreneur, or if you want to become a course creator, or if you want to become a podcaster, or whatever it is that you want, in which direction you want to go, and you're to identify yourself with, this outcome you can control. And it means that if it's not happening, if it goes slowly, because usually you always make some sort of step forward when you decide to do this, you just need to learn more skills. You need to do more about mindset. You need to work on it, basically. And you can keep working on it until you get there. This is also why you should stop waiting for external permission. You only have to give permission to yourself, because that way you can transform, you can step into a new identity in a way that becomes predictable and self-driven. You can do it all the time to develop yourself in new directions, because your identity shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes your reality. At least the parts of reality you can actually guide, because let's be fair, that is not 100%. So what do you do? What do you do when you want a new identity, when it's time to let go of the past, basically, or for a past identity, a small part of you that you have to say goodbye to? And the first thing is acknowledging that this identity has brought you something. The first step is always thanking this old identity. It did something for you. It helped you get you to where you are today. And right now it's time to choose a different direction. But gratitude, showing gratitude, it really can help you release it without the shame. So I usually write a letter when I do this consciously to their recovering from depression identity. I am so grateful I met you. Because, and then write down what I'm so grateful for. I learned from you, blah, 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 blah. In this case, I learned from my depression that I have to take good care of myself all the time. I know that health is not a guarantee, and that I can do things to take good care of myself to increase the chances of great health. I learned that. And it also brought me my dog. It brought me my horse as well. It brought me a lot of things, actually. So write a whole letter, because this way it is time to say goodbye. And after you've done that, after you've written thank you to the thing that you want to let go of, the identity you want to let go of, it is time to decide who you want to become to next. And this is about, which direction do you want to go in? What is it that you want to do now? When I wanted to become an entrepreneur, I really dove into, okay, how does an entrepreneur think? How do they behave? What kind of beliefs do they have? What daily habits do they have? And I started to figure all that out step by step by step, so I could embody myself in this and grow into this new identity. And the third thing is this new identity that you're crafting, it never starts at zero. You already have skills, you already have experience, knowledge, you're building. It's like you're stepping onto your own shoulders. Like, this is the previous version. I'm going to stand on your shoulders now, and I'm going to create a new version of me that I think is right for me now. It's okay to take time, but you also take a bag full of experiences, life experiences with you into this new identity. At the end of the year, I think it's a typical moment in time to stand still and look at, okay, what served me well and what didn't, and what do I need to let go of. I made a whole course about that, the Entrepreneur's Ideal Year, where we do this step by step, where you can really step into this new identity. But I think it's very important to realize that wherever you're growing from here, you already have the skills, you already have the resilience, you have the experience, the knowledge, that you can build upon, that you can grow from there. You never start at zero. Practical things you can do, because let's be fair, those are a lot of mindset things. There are also a lot of practical things you can do to make this happen. And I think we all have some sort of LinkedIn profile. And as entrepreneur, I also have a personal brand, I have a personal branding website. The moment that I decide, okay, I'm going to change the direction, I'm going to move towards a new big or small part in my life, I will be updating my website. And I will reframe the stories that are on there. I will rethink them. I will refocus them mostly. The old part of me is getting like a very small part on the website. It's going from big to much smaller. And the new part is gonna be like bigger, much bigger. You can do this on your LinkedIn profile if you don't have a website. But I'm really like, every entrepreneur should be able to make their own website. This is important because your ideas, everything that you want to change at some point on your website, it's so nice to be able to just click open the software and change it. It is all simple drag and fill in tools. It is basically like typing in a Word document nowadays. It is super easy. It really is. I use Lead Pages for that, but there are so many. You can use Squarespace or another website that software tool that's really easy to use. You don't have to know word coding at all for this. I've worked with businesses who have to hire someone to do this for them. It is costly. It is much, much easier to just pay for website software every year where you can change it yourself. But that's a side note. Changing this website, it gives you like the purpose to really think about what kind of story do I want to create around myself, because that needs to be on your website. And what do I want to put out into this world? And it really, really helps to embody this new identity and think about it. So build a new website, adjust your website. And if you don't have a website, adjust your LinkedIn account. Make the things that you did before a little bit smaller and turn it towards what is relevant for your new identity. You can do that. The second thing you can do is look up people who are already there. And we have something called the internet nowadays. Oh, got a lot of social media at this point. If you don't have these people in your close environment, look them up online. Go look for people who do what you want to do. You want to become a podcaster? Look up podcasters. If you want to become a solo entrepreneur, look up other solo entrepreneurs. If you want to start online courses, look up other people who create online courses online and start following them. Embody yourself with mentors on TikTok, on Instagram, on podcasts. Well, you're listening to this one, so I'm sort of your mentor right now. That's awesome. This is super important. And this is also one of the things that I'll teach you in the course, The Entrepreneur's Ideal Year, because surrounding yourself is really a way with the people that have your identity, is a way to to achieve your goals faster. And I really think you should take advantage of that. There's ways to do it and I love it. The third thing, read and study everything about your new identity. Go on Kindle, Kobo, whatever kind of reading app that you have, or to the library, rent out books that are on the topic of your new identity and immerse yourself within this. I'm becoming a mom right now. I did this. I didn't know anything about children, about babies, about sleeping, about, oh my God, so many things that are out there. I read about it all. I had to immerse myself before this baby arrives, because it gives me perspective on how I want to do this. And I did that with entrepreneurship too. I did that with becoming a podcaster. I did that with starting an Instagram channel, whatever, Instagram profile. And then it's time to experiment with your new identity. Experiment with responses that you could have to certain kind of situations. This is easy, particularly easy if you're on holiday and you know no one, and you can just introduce yourself like, "Hi, give yourself a name, Cornelia. Let's take my name. Hi, I'm Cornelia, and I make podcasts for a living," for instance. Or whatever it is that you do, you can try it out and you can feel like, is this something for me or not? I experimented with, "Hi, I'm Cornelia, I'm an entrepreneur." And it felt awkward at first. Let me tell you that. It felt really awkward. But it doesn't anymore because I started practicing. And the thing is, with changing yourself, you can do a flip switch. I quit my job. I'm an entrepreneur now. I am quitting everything that has to do with being a sustainability specialist, and I'm going all in on entrepreneurship right now. I could have done that. I didn't do that actually. But that is a way that you could flip the script immediately. Or you can do it slowly and start slowly on, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit less of the old identity and a little bit more of the new identity. I worked a little bit less, spend a little bit more time on my business, and that is how I shifted it. Don't have to go all in. It's just go and experiment. Experiment with being your new self. I grew into entrepreneurship slowly. And the moment it became super real for me was when people actually started to pay for the services that I had. I'm so grateful I chose to do this. And I realized that I had to make so many more transitions in my life. All small parts that are part of being an entrepreneur. And now I have this new huge shift in life that usually this is transforming is something you do on the inside and the world around you doesn't have to see unless you show it. The huge transformation that I'm making right now from not being a mom to becoming a mom is super visible on the outside at the moment. And sometimes that is scary, sometimes that's annoying. I get so much unwanted advice. Like, I would be a millionaire if I would get a penny for every thought everyone threw at me. I don't know exactly who I'll be as mom, but I do know how to shift myself into a direction where I can be proud of what kind of mom I want to be. Because I know, okay, I'm surrounding myself with people that I like, with people who do maybe similar things or who give an example in the way that I want to be a parent. And I know that is something that will continue to evolve because it will start as a mom to a baby, a toddler, then it becomes a teenager at some point. Invites a new identity, part of me. And I will always I will not let it happen to me. I will consciously choose the direction I want to go in. And that is actually why I created the Entrepreneur's Ideal Year, because choosing which direction you want to go is so valuable. It gives direction to the journey that you're on. And it doesn't mean that you will achieve all the goals that you have in mind, but it will mean that you choose the journey that you want to be on. You choose the problems that you will encounter along the way. You will choose the wins that you're going to encounter along the way. You choose the direction of the experiences of your life. To me, I really think that my business, I love being an entrepreneur. My business should support the way that I want to live my life. It has to provide the money to be able to live the life that I want. And I think that's usually missing from when people set goals and want to change something about themselves especially as entrepreneur, they forget that their business is there to serve them instead of the other way around. And that is why I teach setting goals in a way that you are actually going to achieve them, connected to the fact that you need to have a business that supports you. So you need a business plan for the year as well to make sure you can do what it is that you want to do. It only runs at the end of the year. So if you're listening to this episode somewhere along the year, at the end of the year, open the doors. Keep an eye on it. Link is in the show notes. And if you're ready to go to your next identity, big, small, this is the work that we'll do here. And you don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a plan that works. And you are more ready than you think. I really hope that you feel the power of, hey, I can do this. I can choose the direction that I want to go in. And I can immerse myself in that, and I can make this happen. I can choose the path of my life. And I'm here to help with Entrepreneur's Ideal Year, this year, at the end of the year, every year. I hope to see you there. I'll talk to you next time.